Hello and welcome to Ciola Wellness. My name is Krista and I'm going to share with you a sunrise Vinyasa yoga flow. So come to meet me on your mat. So coming to find a standing position at the top of the mat in our mountain pose Tadasana. You can have the big toes touching, all the feet hip distance apart if that's more comfortable. Gently closing down the eyes, and let's just take a few moments to become fully present here and now. Feeling that connection with the ground, the earth beneath you. Rooted through the soles of the feet, all 10 toes, grounded into the mat. Rolling the shoulders back and down away from the ears as we find length through the spine. Keeping the back straight. Take a long inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Now continuing with these deep breaths in and out through the nose only. We're trying to maintain this connection with the breath throughout our practice. And as we draw the attention inwards, perhaps you choose to set an intention for your practice. Perhaps one that will follow you into your day or for the rest of the day, wherever you are. Gently blinking open the eyes and let's begin to flow. Let's reach the arms up, inhale. Folding forwards, exhale, bending the knees, releasing the head and the neck. Reaching all the way up, inhale. And folding forwards, exhale. Rising up, inhale, perhaps coming to a back bend, arms moving past the ears as we push the hips forwards. And folding forwards, exhale, bending the knees, release the head and neck. Trying to bring the belly to connect onto the thighs, so bend the knees as much as needed. And we're going to step back to our tabletop position. Bringing the hands underneath the shoulder blades, knees stacked underneath the hips. Cat and cow, drop the belly, inhale. Tilting the pelvis back as we press through the hands to arch the spine. And rounding, exhale into cat. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Arching the spine, inhale. And rounding, exhale. Trying to connect each movement to our breath. Cow, inhale. And rounding, exhale into cat. From here, come back to a neutral tabletop position. Begin to send the left leg back, toes still rooted into the ground, or for me, the sand. Begin to just rock the weight gently forwards and backwards, trying to keep the back straight. And then lifting those toes away from the ground beneath you. Reaching through the toes, trying to keep the back straight. So notice I'm pressing through the hands, drawing belly in. And maybe keeping this left hip rolling down rather than keeping the hip open so that our hips are still in a neutral position. Lengthening through the leg as you inhale. Rounding, exhale, knee to chest. Squeezing that heel towards the glute, pressing through the hands. Lengthening through, inhale. Bend the knee this time, heel to glute. Arching the spine. Lengthening through, inhale. Knee to chest, exhale. Reaching out, inhale. Heel to glute, exhale. Perhaps you begin to reach back with the right hand, maybe even catching a hold of the foot or using a strap to kick the foot into the hand for your tiger pose. In this case, right shoulder is moving back, gaze is shifting towards the right. Releasing, reaching right arm forwards, left leg back, holding it here, and releasing down. Let's do the other side. Send the right leg back, toes still connected to the ground, your mat. And let's rock the weight forwards and backwards gently before lifting the toes away from the ground again, trying to keep that right hip spinning down, lengthening through the toes as you inhale, press the hands, draw belly in to keep the back straight, neck is long. Long inhale here as you lengthen the toes away from the body, and rounding exhale, knee to chest, tuck the chin. Reaching through, inhale. Bend the knee, heel to glute. Exhale, arching the spine. Reaching through, inhale. And rounding, exhale, knee to chest. Reaching through, inhale. Bend the knee, heel to glute. As you exhale, maybe reach back with that left hand. No problem if you're not catching a hold of the foot just yet. We can use a strap, kicking the foot into the hand to roll this left shoulder back as you look up. Trying to catch the foot from the inside so that we can create more openness within the chest, opening the heart space, coming back to this tabletop. Hold it here and releasing. Untuck the toes. Let's come to our child's pose for just a moment, releasing the forehead down to the mat. Let's introduce some spinal waves here. So you can roll the hips in circles, moving the shoulders. Maybe you roll the spine forwards and then back, hips towards the heels. Moving to the right and to the left in any shape or direction that feels good. You can come forward to your cobra and rock the hips side to side. And then ripple forwards and back. Allow yourself to really move freely here. Doesn't have to make sense, doesn't matter what it even looks like. A great time to also warm up the wrists by bringing fingertips back to face towards you. Rock the weight forwards and backwards. Just drawing circles over the wrists. And when we come back to that tabletop position, we're going to lower the chin and the chest as we keep the hips lifted, squeezing elbows in. Either chest forwards for your cobra. Elbows in, shoulders back, long inhale. Release the chest down, exhale. Press into the hands, lift up, inhale. And fold forwards, exhale. One more time, pressing into the hands, inhale, crown of the head, reaching forwards and up towards the sky. And send it back to your child's pose. Coming to unravel the spine, tuck the toes so that you can sit back onto the heels for just a moment. Perhaps reconnecting with your breath if you need to. And if you're familiar with your Ujjayi pranayama, you can start to apply this now by creating a slight constriction at the back of the throat so that the breath becomes audible, almost mimicking the sound of the ocean, the sound of waves. Also take a moment to come back to your intention. Let's draw circles with the right hand as we open the eyes and then the left. Just warming up a bit more in the shoulders and both arms at the same time. And then in the opposite direction. Let's take it to our downward facing dog, planting the hands into the mat. Toes are tucked. Press into the hands to send the hips back and then up towards the sky, coming into that inverted V shape. Bend the knees as much as needed. Lift the heels and draw them back down towards the mat, but they don't have to be planted flat into the mat. Gazing between the two big toes, so towards the toes. Pressing through the hands, so spread the fingers as wide as we can. Shake the head, yes. Oh, that's actually a no. And then shake the head, no or yes, whichever way. You can walk your dog out by bending one knee into the chest. Looking underneath each of the armpits. Trying to keep the arms straight, squeezing the inner arms towards each other. And now we look forward, top of the mat. Let's take baby steps to come all the way to the top of the mat. As we rise up, inhale. And let's fold forwards, exhale. Rising up, inhale. To fold forwards, exhale. One more time, rising up, inhale. Perhaps you come to a back bend, arms moving past the ears as we press the hips forwards. Chest Lifting up towards the sky and fold forwards, exhale. Come to a halfway lift, hands to the shins as we straighten the back, gazing past the top of the mat. Knees are bent as much as we need to. And fold forwards, exhale. Let's step it back to our plank. We're coming to take our first vinyasa. Always suggest lowering the knees for your first vinyasa. We'll lower down one straight line as we exhale, squeeze elbows in, and slide the chest through. Inhaling for cobra. Hips backing up, downward facing dog, exhale. Looking forward to the top of the mat. Let's bend the knees, going to take a little hop forwards. Rising up, inhale. And fold forwards, exhale. Plant the hands down, you can step back to your plank, or maybe you want to take a little hop. And lower down, exhale. Slide the chest through. Inhaling, this time maybe upward facing dog with the arms straight, shoulders moving back, lifting the chest. Hips back and up, downward dog, exhale. Pressing through the hands, releasing any weight in the head and the neck. Again, maybe walking out your dog, shaking the head yes and then no. Let's begin to send the left leg back for a three-legged dog. Don't worry too much about how high that leg is going. Just as high as feels good for you today. And we'll bend the knee, heel to glute for our split dog. Now looking forward, knee to chest. And with control, bringing that foot in between the hands, multiple steps on one big step to get there. And bring that back knee down, weights are in the way. And bring that back knee down for your low lunge. You can stay here, fingertips connected to the mat, or feel free to go ahead and reach the arms up into your crescent lunge, looking up towards the sky. You can also interlace the hands for Kali Mudra, left arm over the right, releasing the index finger. Perhaps a little shimmy within the chest, or pulsing the arms past the ears. Take a long inhale, perhaps deepening that lunge. Hips coming lower, but also forwards towards the top of the mat. And release the hands down on your exhale. Reach the arms up, inhale. Hands down, exhale. Arms up, inhale. This time, hands down to a half split, exhale. Shifting the weight back as you begin to straighten that front leg. Perhaps you keep a micro bend in that front knee, but trying to flex the foot towards you. You can point, flex toes or draw circles with the ankle, and we'll come forward to that crescent lunge. Inhale, half splits, exhale. Maybe you sweep the arms back as you fold forwards, reaching forward, crescent lunge. Inhale, sweeping it back, half split, exhale. Bringing the hands back down for our vinyasa. Lower down, exhale, squeeze elbows in, keeping the back straight. Slide the chest through. Inhale for upward facing dog. Send the hips back and up, downward dog. Exhale. Lifting the right leg off the mat for our three-legged dog as high as it can go. And then bending the knee, heel to glute. Split dog. And bringing the knee forwards towards the chest, planting the foot in between the hands. One big step or multiple little steps to get there into a low lunge as we inhale. You can stay here, fingertips connected to the mat. And go ahead and reach the arms up. Maybe interlacing the fingers for your crescent lunge with a Kali Mudra. Finding length through the spine before we come to our back bend. So chest lifting up. Arms moving past the ears, deep bend in that front knee, and bring the hands down, exhale. Reach the arms up, inhale. Hands down, exhale. Arms up, inhale. This time we take it to a half split, hands down, exhale, shifting the weight back as we begin to straighten that front leg, flexing the foot back towards you. Point and flex the toes. You can draw circles with the heel. And let's come forwards. Crescent lunge, inhale. Half splits, maybe you sweep the arms back, exhale. Reaching forwards, inhale. And sweep it back, exhale. Reaching up, inhale. And sweeping it back, exhale. Bringing the hands back forward. We're going to step it back, lower down on your next exhale, squeezing elbows in, one straight line, slide the chest through, inhale, upward dog. Hips back and up, downward facing dog, exhale. You have the option to stay here in your downward dog or bring the knees down, untucking the toes for your child's pose. To lift up from our child's pose, let's tuck the toes, send it back to your downward facing dog. Feel free to find stillness here. Perhaps you want to pedal out the feet a little bit more, or perhaps taking a twist, so using your left hand to reach for that right ankle. Perhaps you stay here, or maybe grabbing a hold of the ankle so that we can pull the chest over to the right hand side, gazing through and underneath the right armpit. Keep pressing through the right hand to keep sending the hips back and up. And let's do the other side. Reaching for that left ankle with the right hand. Maybe you stay here, gazing through and underneath that left armpit. Or option 2, grabbing a hold of the ankle to drag the chest through. Pressing through that left hand, so hips still moving up and back. Come back to your downward facing dog. Looking forward, bend the knees, you can hop the jump or just step forwards. Halfway lift, inhale. Hands to the shins or fingertips to the mat, flat back. And folding forwards, exhale, release the head and the neck. Reaching up, inhale, maybe a back bend. Let's fold forwards, exhale. Plant the hands down, jump or step back to take your vinyasa. Lower down, exhale. Slide the chest through, inhale. Hips back and up, downward facing dog, exhale. Beginning to lift the left leg up for that three-legged dog once more. Perhaps you notice if the leg is coming up a little bit higher this time. Bending the knee for that split dog, heel to glute. And let's bring the foot in between the hands. One step, what we'll call it. There, we're coming to a high lunge, lifting all the way up as you inhale. So back heel pointing up, we're on the tippy toes of the back foot. Bending deeply in that front knee. Maybe you take a moment to try and square the hips. So sending left hip back, right hip forward. And let's send the left arm back, right arm forwards for a revolved and twisted high lunge. Maybe you gaze over to the left hand side. You can stay here, or maybe windmill the arms. You might grab a hold of the right thigh behind you, reaching back with that right arm. Maybe bend the front knee a little bit deeper without forcing. And let's bring this right hand down, left arm up. Still in a revolved lunge, just a little bit lower this time, and bring the back knee down. Bringing both hands down, we're going to step it back, take a vinyasa, maybe a one-leg vinyasa, lower down, exhale, slide the chest through, inhale, legs back and up, downward facing dog, exhale. On the other side, lift the right leg up, three-legged dog, pointing through the toes, and bend the knee, heel to glute, split dog. Still pressing through the hands, gaze still to those left toes, and bringing the knee forward, so plant the foot in between the hands, one big step, multiple little steps. It's all good. Let's lift up into that high lunge, inhale. Taking a moment to square the hips, bending deeper on that exhale, right hip back, left hip forward, lifting through the chest, reaching through the arms. Now, right arm is going to go back, left arm forwards. Gazing over through to that right hand side. You might notice if it's a bit easier or harder on one side. It's definitely wobbly. It's definitely a bit more wobbly for me on this side. You can stay here, we'll take it deeper. Grab a hold of that left thigh, left arm moving back as deep as you'd like to go. or not, it's up to you. Left hand is going to come down, right arm revolving up. So I'm going to switch around just so it's easier and clearer to see. Right arm reaching up, spinning and revolving the chest up towards the ceiling. Can you keep sending that left hip back, right hip forwards, and bring the knee down. Bring both hands down, step it back. One leg vinyasa, it's just an option. Lower down, exhale. Slide the chest through, inhale. Sending the hips back to your child's pose, or straight into your downward facing dog. We're going to ripple forwards, wave like the waves behind me. So come to tippy toes. Bring the shoulders over the wrists. Notice I'm rounding slightly within the spine. So drawing belly in, chest in. And from here, bend the knees, arch the spine when you push back to your down dog. Final waves here. Come to tippy toes, ripple forwards. Bend the knees, arch the spine as you push back. Let's do that a couple more times. Rippling forwards on your inhale. And pushing back, exhale. You can move side to side here. Doesn't have to make sense. It can be any shapes or directions that feel good. You can move the feet, move the arms, circles, whatever you like. Just a moment to move freely, creatively, however feels good. You can come to that upward dog and back. And then we'll take one more vinyasa, lower down, exhale, and release the chest. Press into the hands to lift the chest up. Perhaps just stay here, or chest back down. See if you can reach back. Start here, and that's okay. Kick the foot into the hand, maybe flex the feet to help you to lift the chest up. Notice if the heels are spinning away from each other. Try to draw the heels in and lift up a bit more. Gazing up and down. Back and up to that downward facing dog. You can play around with a couple more spinal waves. If you're ready to wind down, let's look forwards, taking baby steps to come to the top of our mat. And down to come to a seated twist. So bending the left knee, bringing the heel in towards the hips. You're going to cross that right leg over the left knee. Use the left arm to wrap the right leg as you shift the gaze over to the right hand side. Trying to maintain some length within the spine, so lengthening through the crown of the head. And twisting a bit deeper on the exhale. This is option one. You're perfectly fine to stay here, or if you want to hook the elbow on the outside of that knee and use this as a lever to twist and revolve a little bit deeper. I also like just releasing that left arm. You can maybe come to a mudra also if you prefer. So you transition to the other side. We're gonna do a little trick, which is pressing into the hands. Unravel yourself as you spin over to have, instead, the right knee bent, right heel close to the hip, and it's the left knee that's bent. So we're wrapping right arm around the left leg and looking over the left shoulder. So again, you have the option to stay here, this is perfectly fine, or hook that right elbow on the outside of the left knee to twist and revolve, maybe releasing the arm all the way. So finding length on your inhale and twisting a bit deeper on that exhale. Let's try that spinny thing one more time. So you're pressing into the hands, you're lifting up, spinning all the way around to come back to where we started. Let's start to make our way into a forward fold, extending out the legs, keeping the knees as bent as needed as you start to fold forwards, placing the hands on the mat alongside the legs or catching a bind, so grabbing a hold of the big toe with the index, middle finger and the thumb. Trying to flex the feet towards you to keep the legs active, and trying to pull the shoulders back away from the ears in order to draw the front ribs forwards. Try to avoid overly rounding within the spine, so instead pulling the chest forwards, looking over the legs. If you do want to take it deeper, you'll start to extend the legs out all the way, maybe even reaching the hands around the soles of the feet. Imagine that with each exhale, you're drawing the chest a little bit lower, folding deeper. Now starting to gently come out of the pose, let's come straight into our Navasana, our boat pose. So lifting the feet off the mat. You have the option to keep the hands onto the floor alongside the hips, helping you to keep the chest lifted, but drawing the belly in towards the spine to engage the core. And when you're ready, extending the arms out in front of you, spreading the fingers wide. If you do want to take it deeper, you'll start to extend the legs out towards the sky. There's this action here of drawing the thighs in towards each other, keeping the legs engaged, and slowly releasing down to lie onto the mat. Getting set up for your chosen back bend, that might be a bridge or a wheel pose. Feet are parallel, aligned with the knees. Just checking that you can feel the edge of the heels with the fingertips before releasing the arms slightly wider than the mat. You'll take a long inhale, and as you exhale, starting to press into the feet to lift the hips high. Lifting within the chest, opening the heart space. Often the knees have a tendency to splay out here. If that's happening, that's okay. Try to consciously draw the knees in towards each other and engaging the inner thighs. You might choose to interlace the hands underneath the back in order to push even higher, maybe even come onto the tippy toes, lifting the heels high. You can stay here for 4 breaths. Another alternative in your bridge pose is to actually reach the arms up and overhead, and then lifting the hips high, just as we'd done earlier. This creates a bit more opening within the heart space, and that can feel quite nice. As your option 3, you might decide to take it into a wheel pose. So bringing the hands in line with the ears, the fingertips are pointing backwards, so pointing down towards the feet. Draw the elbows in, press into the hands and feet to lift the hips and the chest. At this point, you're trying to bring the ears in line with the arms, so looking through the arms and trying to push the chest back, pushing the chest towards the back of your mat. If that feels okay, you might choose to walk the feet closer in, maybe even lifting the heels, coming onto the tippy toes. Keep the arms straight if you can. You might even rock forwards and backwards a few times. And to come out of the pose, walk the feet a bit further out, tuck the chin, lower down through your upper, middle, and lower back. Hugging both knees into the chest, giving yourself a little squeeze. If it feels good, you can rock gently side to side. Hugging the right knee into the chest, you can keep the left leg extended or keeping the knee bent. Drawing the right knee over towards the left hand side, you can bring a block, bolster, or any other support like a cushion underneath the knee, or if it feels okay, bringing the knee all the way down towards the ground as you shift the gaze over towards the right shoulder. Closing down the eyes and taking a few deep breaths here. Coming back to center, let's do the same on the opposite side. This time drawing the left knee in towards the chest. You can keep the right knee bent or extend it out all the way. Take a moment to shift the hips over towards the left hand side first, before drawing the left knee over towards the right hand side. Again, you can place the knee onto a block, cushion, or support, whatever you'd like. As you shift the gaze over the left shoulder, gently closing down the eyes, breathing here deeply for a few breaths. Calming back to center, drawing the knees in towards the chest, releasing the arms, maybe even extending the legs out towards the sky, towards the ceiling. This is your waterfall pose, and inversion. You can stay here. You're also welcome to take it into a shoulder stand, lifting the hips high and supporting the lower back with the hands. I think I was a little bit tired at this point, so I'm hanging out in my waterfall pose, and you're more than welcome to as well. And gently releasing the feet down to the mat, extending the legs out all the way, and getting set up for your Shavasana, your resting pose. Gently closing down the eyes. Relaxing the corners of the mouth, relax the jaw. Releasing entirely the weight of the arms and of the legs. On each exhale, allow the shoulders to sink deeper into the mat. And letting the breath return to its natural cycle. Taking a moment to notice any projections of the mind, any thoughts that come up. Try to observe these without judgment. Allow each thought to become a wave, arriving along the shore of an empty beach. And just as each wave comes and goes, you observe these thoughts like a passive observer, just a silent witness. And as each wave disappears, allowing this to carry away the weight of the thoughts with them, leaving you calmer and leaving you lighter. Gently starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes, reaching the arms up and overhead for a full body stretch. And start to draw the knees in towards the chest, and giving yourself a very well-deserved hug. You might rock side to side. And in your own time, allowing the knees to fall over to the right or the left hand side, it can be either one. Gently popping yourself up to a seated position with the eyes closed. Taking a moment to come back to your breath and your intention if you had set one. Thanking yourself for creating the time and the space for this practice, for showing up. So I really hope you enjoyed this little flow. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, follow me on socials, and check out my website for more classes and more practices.